What's up, everybody? This is your Garcia, and this is a beautiful day. And today we're going to be talking about why you haven't been paid through the stimulus package, the new $2,000 a month on the low end, new stimulus package, along with the PPP, and a little bit of information on my forbearance. Now, here's the deal. What I'm about to talk about has happened in the last 2 to 3 days. There's so much changes happening. So benefiting you, please subscribe so you could be the first one to know what's going on and be the first one to capture the information and use it for you, your family, your business. I need and want you to succeed. So please subscribe so you get the information first. All right, so real quick, I've been growing this chin monkey as soon as we went on quarantine. I haven't shaved since. Look at this bad boy. All right, back to it. Now, personal story with our forbearance. Now, I did another video on when we were calling some of these mortgage companies for our personal property along with our rental property and some of the options that we had. I already did a video on that. Well, for one of them, all we asked for was for information, and then the mortgage company put us under forbearance. So what we've been doing is calling them, emailing them, messaging them to get us off the forbearance. Because here's the deal, this is the forbearance you don't want to be on. 3 months forbearance, you don't pay. Oh, just wait. 4th month, you do pay all 3 months, including the 4th month, lump sum, not the one we want to be on. And we didn't even ask for it. So what we're doing is we are beating them up over the phone. Finally, I would say the 6th or 7th time we finally talked to this individual at this mortgage company. He's like, you know what, I'm going to cancel the forbearance. We're like, yeah, thanks. Appreciate that. We don't want to be on this thing. This thing is crazy. And I believe even it's in the bill, or at least the new proposed bill that I'll talk about later in this video, that they're making, or it's in the House right now, but they're making an effect that the mortgage companies can't do this. Right? Because that's just going to hurt a lot more people. It doesn't make sense. But first, the person needs to be informed and take ownership of what this thing even means. Don't go on it if you can't afford that lump sum. But it's also not the right thing to do. So it looks like they're putting it in the new bill to tell the mortgage companies that they can't do it. But I did want to just go ahead and inform you of what we went through. We're off the forbearance now, thank God. But just want to kind of keep you guys informed on that. All right, so next, the PPP. Now, they're not taking any more applications because they're out of money. And no more money within the PPP, but we saw this coming. I mean, if you look at my other videos, I was like, dude, jump on this now, go now. I was telling my coaching clients, my consulting clients, the same deal. Don't wait, first come, first serve. Maybe, I'm gonna touch on that in a second. But we knew this money would run out quick, and it's gone, so, yep. Now, I would say about 95% of the business owners that I've been talking to did not get the PPP. And here's the deal. They were first in line. No, they were first in line. They had Rockstar CPAs, Rockstar smaller banks that they were putting these PPPs through and still didn't get funded. And it looks like 1.6 million out of the 35 million small businesses that applied actually got funded. That is a very small number. And so if you dive even deeper into the numbers, it looks like the average loan that was being pushed out was $218,000. And what I'm seeing a lot more is that the big banks actually failed the small business owners that needed the money, the local businesses that needed the money. And they failed them because if you even remember on the application, it was asking how many employees was this going to help. And in some way, maybe I'm wrong, I feel like this was a good talking point for the whoever to say, hey, this is how many employees that we saved by this bill. And if you look at the larger companies, of course, they're going to have more employees, but they're also probably better prepared for times like this. They have cash reserves and maybe didn't even need it, but it may have become a political talking point as well with that. And I'm only coming up with ideas because I'm seeing a lot of people didn't get funded, a lot of businesses that truly needed it. Also, I mean, look at the incentive on the bigger banks, you know, to fund the bigger loans. makes sense for them to do that, right? And obviously the bigger banks have failed the smaller businesses who needed the loans, but they weren't the large jumbo loans that the large companies were looking for that may have been prepared. And I'm not hitting on anyone on this. I'm just stating what I see and my own thoughts about it, and maybe some feelings attached in there too because of just what I've seen. All right, so now we're going to touch on the stimulus check. And if you haven't gotten your stimulus check, I'm sorry, because even dead people are getting stimulus checks right now. Thousands of people who have passed away are getting their stimulus checks. So, I don't know what's going on there. It happened before with other stimulus checks, but we're going to go over some of the reasons that you might not be getting your stimulus check. I will say that veterans on disability also qualify for the stimulus check. I've heard questions about that. So we work with a lot of veterans in active duty. That is majority of our market here in Fort Bragg, Fayetteville, North Carolina. We love referrals. So just wanted to throw that in there real quick. So I will be going over a few things on why you may have not gotten your stimulus check. But if you feel it's been misdirected or you didn't get the right amount, they are sending out paper notices via email or via mail that will give you some kind of explanation of where the money went and instructions on how to change the amount. It should be sent out about 15 days after you've gotten your stimulus check. You were supposed to, so look out for that. That's going to be more of official instructions on what to do. And as always, the Get My Payment IRS web portal is linked below, so you can find out where the stimulus check is at. All right, so if you're getting the payment status not available error, the payment status not available according to information that we have on file, we cannot determine your eligibility for payment at this time, and or we are unable to provide you with the status of your payment or perform the action request because 1, the tax return information you entered does not match their records, or 2, you have already accessed the system the maximum number of times today. If you're getting that, here's some reasons why you may be getting it. Number 1, is right here. It says the tax return information you entered does not match your record. So, with this being a brand new system that's pushed out, you probably want to be very, very, very detailed in it. So if you work at, or if you live on ABC Drive, don't put DR period for drive. You may need to spell it out like this type of stuff. That's not matching with their tax returns, or maybe other things. So just make sure that the tax returns are matching what they have on record, or what you put in for that information is what they have on record. If you do get locked out, it's saying that you should be waiting 24 hours until you can go back and retry. Other reasons, we're hearing that, listen, if you entered $0 for a refund or amount due, they're going to kick you out, and you're going to get an error on it. The IRS knows this, and they're actually working on it. Another one is your tax returns aren't fully processed yet. So what are they going to go off of, right? So that could be another thing, is that it's just not fully processed. And, it's the government. So the third reason we're looking at is glitches. Man, this is a brand new system that got pushed out pretty quick. And so you're seeing a lot of glitches, and it looks like 21 million people right now could be affected by these glitches, and you might be one of them. But the IRS says they're working on it, so hopefully they get a lot of this stuff fixed pretty soon. All right, for the new proposed stimulus bill, it's just been confirmed that the unemployment numbers have actually hit higher than the financial crisis in 2008 and 2009. And because of that, the House of Representatives has introduced this stimulus bill called the Emergency Money for the People Act. And in it says that you'll be getting, or for individuals, $2,000 a month for up to 12 months to everyone older than 16 years old. That'd have been crazy. 16 years old and makes less than $130,000 a year. Single person should expect that $2,000 a month. Married couples filing jointly with no children would expect around $4,000 per month, and an increase of $500 per child up to 2 children. If you have 3 children and you're a married couple filing jointly, you can expect $5,500 a month. Wow. So other questions about this, listen, it will not be taxable and it doesn't count as your gross income because obviously they would use that to be taxed. If you had no earnings, if you had no earnings or were unemployed or currently unemployed, you would still be eligible. This would also apply for college students and adults who are still claimed as dependent by someone else. So it's a lot more spread out than the first stimulus bill. Looks like a lot more people can get it, and the qualifications to get it are much, much lower. And the amount of money per household, per individual is much higher, obviously. And it's going to be sustained to 6 to 12 months, depending on things that we still have to figure out because it's still a proposed bill. Interesting though, right? So right here it says 2019 tax returns would be used to determine your eligibility. Unless you haven't filed, then 2018 will be used, or your social security information. If you were not eligible with your 2018 or 2019 tax return, but you are eligible based on your 2020 income, you will be able to submit 2 months of verification income and become eligible if your income went down because of layoffs, furloughs, just lowered hours or whatever. You could apply, but they're gonna have to see proof of that within 2020. At least in this bill it says 2 months of verified income to become eligible. So there you go for that. So if you want to become eligible for that in 2020, it's kind of hit you hard, like it's hit a lot of people, and your income went down, furlough, laid off, lowered hours. You can prove it and be eligible. Big things that they're looking at in this bill is something called the employment to population ratio. And basically what that's saying is for the people who can work versus the people who are working. As long as the number is under 60%, the money will keep flowing until it's back up to that 60+% number that they're looking at with the employment to population ratio. Again, this is all just news that's in that proposed bill. We don't know if it's any of this stuff is even going to go through. And here's the deal: we still have some time before we'll even see the execution on this bill, because it's in the House. It has to pass the House, then it has to go to the Senate. More than 50% of the Senate has to agree with it, and then it goes to the President. The President has to sign off on it. After that, if he says no, and he vetoes it, then it goes back to the Senate. Then the Senate has to get 2/3 plus vote on it to say that they need it, and they can basically push past the veto and put it into law. So we have some time. The government and Congress hasn't been known for their ways of getting along. So we'll see what happens, how much this is going to change. Of course, I'll keep you guys updated, which is why you want to subscribe. As soon as it comes out, I'm just going to lay it out for you. But we'll see. We'll see where this thing goes. Because some other things you have to consider is that, man, if you're over 16 years old, making less than $130,000 single, you could be getting that $2,000. Now, what if you were making $1,000, $1,500, $1,700 a month, before this pandemic? Now, do you qualify for the $2,000? Are they going to bring it down to what you were being paid before everything went south? These are things that they have to ask themselves, right? And also, if you're getting unemployment, the federal now is boosting it 600 plus a week up to. What if you're making more than $2,000? What if you're making $1,500, $1,800 a month? Is the $2,000 applied to that? If you're making more than $2,000 just on unemployment alone, are you now making $4,000 as an individual? So, there's a lot that they do have to chew on, spit out, stuff their own stuff in there, figure this out before we get to see it. But, it's just interesting to watch and how fast things are changing. It's only been 2 to 3 days and you just got an earful. So I'm going to keep you guys updated. Obviously, keep me posted with things that are changing in your world. Thank you for the comments. I'm absolutely loving it. And I do got a question, though. So, if this does pass, we all have got the stimulus bill. Well, most of us, including dead people, have gotten this last stimulus bill. Would you like for me to do a video on what we are using our stimulus bill for, and maybe some suggestions that you guys could do it so that way it's not a one-time payment. You know, I broke my phone over 2-3 days ago or so, and I shattered the screen and I had to go get a new phone. And when I was getting my new phone, because it made more sense, it actually cost more to do the screen than it did just to get a new phone. And the person they were working was like, they're seeing a ton of people, younger, going in there and buying phones and iPads and one-time stuff that will devalue using their stimulus check. So I think it's interesting that we might have a conversation. Let me know if that's something you want to have a conversation about, what we're using our stimulus money for, so that way it fights for us and continues to produce cash. And definitely if we get this new stimulus bill and seeing what this thing looks like, let me know if you want me to make a video like that. I will absolutely do that on how we leverage the money coming in to make sure that it is being used in a way that will produce cash forever. Let me know if you want that. And with that, guys, go ahead and subscribe so you can be the first ones to know. Hit that like button. If I say the word button the correct way, hit the like button. Like blah. Hit that like button. Por favor, hit that like button. Buy some merch, some real estate merch with your state. I have all the states. Go ahead, like I said, subscribe. And until then, adios.